Hello everybody, so it's me Chris again. I hope you can see me well. I've been trying to kind of maybe practice with my angles a little bit more because I know some of the other videos my face looked a little wonky. So hopefully this isn't too bad. I don't know how far away I have to hold it before I look right. And yeah, I think I need to hold it up above my face a little bit or something. But anyway, so this is a quick little video I'm making about circle skirts and stuff. This is going with that same series on circle skirts versus gathered skirts. So this one is speaking mostly about circled skirts and asking, isn't a circle skirt and a regular skirt that has been slashed the same thing? And essentially, I'm trying to answer it as clearly and um, as quickly as possible because I know my videos tend to get a little long. So essentially, yes, you can get a circle skirt from a regular skirt once you slash it and close the darts. So basically, if you slash this, you would end up with something that's like, well, move down a little bit. Come down here. Maybe draw this. And a little hip curve area. And then that. And then this. So we have one of those. Then we have that. And of course, I don't know how perfectly drawn this is. Oh, sorry, you couldn't see that. So anywho, yeah, I don't know how perfectly drawn that is, but basically, this is what's going to happen once you split that open. And then we'll pretend the hip line is right there. Okay, so essentially now this has some flare. This is the center front. And you would do your grain line like this. If you chose to try to do it on the bias, you might need to do some extra stuff just because when you're on the bias, the fabric fits a little differently. So if you're not doing a full circle skirt, you're going to have to do some extra kind of fitting here and there just because of the way that the bias pulls. And the bias kind of pulls long ways, and then this kind of shrinks. Your widthwise kind of shrinks as well as a result. It's very similar to, and I did a video about this a little while back. You know those little Chinese finger traps, and they have they work because the weave is a bias weave, and it works the same way that the bias on your fabric does. So that's how it's able to pull your finger. Or once you put your fingers in there, you can get it stuck because you put your fingers in, which kind of squeezes it this way, and it makes this widen just a little bit. But then once you go to try to pull your finger out, now you're pulling it that way, which makes it shrink some. So the same thing kind of happens on your skirts because the weave is similar on a woven garment. So as gravity kind of weighs the skirt down here, up and down this way, the skirt shrinks horizontally, and so you sometimes have to add a little extra that way. So anywho, hold on just a second. So, sorry, my little dog starts to whine when my roommate gets home. Okay, so anyway, so that's the reason for that. Now, also you have to notice with your basic skirt, you're gonna have to blend this a little bit more, and then now you have something that's a little more similar. So you're essentially adding flare here to make that more similar to this. Now also, well, I guess it is the same. I was gonna say this is just a quarter of the skirt, so this would be like where the side seam is, and this would be the center front or center back or whatever, and this would be the same. So, but you would still need to add a little bit extra before you would be completely similar. So, if you're thinking about this question and you're wondering, is it the same thing? Because you feel like this would be a little bit easier, it can be. The easiest way that I could think of to come up with this if you don't have a book that would show you how to just draw a circle, or a variety, or, one of the varieties of the circles. The quickest thing that I could think to do if you're starting with this would be to make a square. And the square needs to be a little bit bigger than your skirt that you're using. And then you're going to put the skirt here. Now, this is going to be kind of a trial and error. I've never done it this way before because I haven't needed to do that. But anyway, essentially what you're going to do is take your skirt and you're going to place it on the square, okay? And you would start off, of course, with something like this. Okay, so, sorry about that. You could start here. So let's say your skirt looks kind of like this. Then basically what you would be doing is you would go ahead and slash it up to, but not through, the point of the dart. That way the dart point kind of becomes a hinge. Okay. And then you're going to start to open it. So you're going to open it as wide as you can, basically just closing the darts. Okay. We already know that's going to only get you so wide. So let's say you're here now, and you still got the hump in the hip, and you're there. And now you got these wide little areas like that. Okay. So then what you would do, this still needs to be kind of wide, and we're going to still kind of slash with it. So don't like trace it onto your paper. I'm just trying to illustrate here. So what you want to do is kind of scoot this up a little bit to the point where you could see this end touching here. And basically all we would do next, let's say you scooted this up some, and let's say you're here, and you still got this like that, and that like that, that like that. So what you would do next is you would open that just a little bit more if you can, because you essentially want to get this as close to this edge as possible. You don't want to go past this though. Okay. So you would essentially, what you would have to do is cut through these points in order to open this up, and you may need to tape here. Put a piece of tape there, put a piece of tape there, because you want it to hold together on this end. You don't want your waist to change, okay? So you would open it up a little bit more. And hopefully by now you're at this point, you have a little angle there. Okay, so now you have a little bit of an angle there. And an even bigger angle here. Okay. And I'm sorry, I apologize. I hope y'all can see that. And then all you're doing next is just blending that so that it meets with the end. So if that's easier for you, if that's an easier method, then you can do that instead. And if not, then you could find a way to... Oops, sorry about that. You could find a way to just... Let's see, I'm going to show you my book. You could find a book like this, and I showed this in the other video. It's the Pattern Making for Fashion Design, 4th edition. You could get this book, and it will actually tell you how to make your circle skirt. And this is kind of the method that it uses. And you're basically just taking a tape measure, then you're putting a point, you're marking a point in the tape measure, and then the book is going to tell you how far to measure down so you can make the waist, and then how far to measure down, for the hem of your skirt or whatever. But that part's going to kind of come from you, and just saying, well, how long do you want the skirt? But this part is going to come from here. And so it's essentially just going to tell you what all you need to do for that. It just says the radius chart for circle skirts and cascades. So anyway, I don't want to show you too much of that just because that is somebody else's information and blah, 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 blah. Lots and lots of trouble. So anyway, I hope that helps you a little bit. The only other thing I could think to tell you as well, if we're speaking about gathered skirts, let's see, is it the same thing? You could, if you're doing a gathered skirt, no, that's not the same thing as a circle with flare. And the reason is just because this, and then gathering that down is not the same as that. Because this is just adding fullness horizontally. And the grain line is the same no matter whether you're looking at this part of the skirt, that part of the skirt, or that part, the grain line is the same. Here, the grain line changes. So if I'm looking at the center front, that's one way. If I'm looking at the side seam, that's on the cross grain. If I'm looking at kind of halfway between, then it's on the bias. And the same way here, if this is the center front, that's the side seam, and this is halfway between. All three are on the straight grain. So anyway, I hope that helps. If you had that question, hopefully that helps you out some. I hope this is far enough away, and I hope you can see me. We're going to tap a couple times. So anyway, thank y'all very much. Give me a like and a comment if you have any questions. I hope the video wasn't too crazy for you. I dropped my phone one time and some other stuff happened. So anyway, thank you very much, and I will see y'all later on. Bye-bye.